So the Sony A9 III was just announced, and it is actually blowing my mind. This is a camera that's going to cannibalize pretty much all of Sony's cameras, including the A1, which is now completely obsolete, if you ask me. And I really wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this thing because the specs are just insane. First, we finally got a global shutter. This is going to allow all of the pixels of the sensor to be exposed simultaneously, and this is going to eliminate rolling shutter, flicker, and banding in your shots. This is next level technology and a huge step forward. Next, the A9 II shot at an impressive 20 frames per second, and the A9 III comes in at 120 frames per second, blackout free shooting. 120 frames per second. That is absolutely mind-blowing. That's going to be a crazy amount of hard drive space, but they do have some awesome features to really make sure that you nail the photo that you want, because as you know, as a professional, whether you're shooting wildlife or sports or the Olympics, a tenth of a second, a hundredth of a second is going to be the difference between the shot that you need and something that's ready for the garbage. So 120 frames per second is just insane. Again, blackout free shooting is just amazing and a huge upgrade over the A9 II. For comparison, the A1 shoots at 30 frames per second. But that's not the coolest or the best part for me. The most incredible part of this camera is now the pre-shooting. We see this stuff on things like GoPro these days, but what's actually happening is it's recording before you press the shutter button. For 1.6 seconds or approximately 192 frames, it's going to be able to record and get the footage that you're looking for before you press the shutter button. That means that bird that you've been waiting for 30 minutes to get off the branch and fly away so you can get that perfect capture, you're now gonna have a 1.6 second window that you can now go back and capture those frames before you press the shutter button. This is going to be a game changer for people in event, in wildlife, in just about everything that you could imagine, because you're gonna be able to get those photos that you actually missed. Just insane. And that's probably one of the best features that I've seen on a camera ever. Amazing. Now the A9 III is going to have a 24.6 megapixel sensor, and yeah, it's not super huge like a 50 megapixel like the Sony A1, and I think to get 120 frames per second, you're going to need these crazy fast processors, so to have any more resolution would be really taxing. You're going to have to find a balance between it all, and luckily we have a really great upscaling software in post these days, but I think for the average person, 24 megapixels is going to be ample. Now the max shutter speed of this camera has been further increased to 1/80,000th of a second, which is almost nonsensical if you think about it. To get that much light to expose for something at that speed is insane. You're going to need a ton of light. Isn't that like bullet stopping speeds at that point? Yes, we were kind of used to 1/16,000th of a second, which was not uncommon, but 1/80,000th of a second is absolutely insane. Something else to note, which is just amazing, is there's no more sync speed necessary for your flashes. This thing is going to be able to shoot in any shutter speed with your flashes. So no more missing your shot, missing your flash. You're gonna be able to just dial it in the way you want it, and it's gonna shoot, and it's just gonna work. Absolutely mind-blowing. The autofocus and tracking has been improved once again using AI for just a total range of things now. This camera is probably the best camera, and I would say the biggest leap forward in technology that we've seen in a long, long time. For video shooters, it shoots in full 4K 120 with no crop, of course 10-bit, all that good stuff, and it's going to have 8 stops of IBIS built into the camera with a 30% improvement in the active stabilization apparently. So for stability, this thing's going to be rock solid for video shooters and photo shooters alike. Also worth noting, the world's best flippy screen is now available with this camera, with tilting, flipping, everything you could imagine that you want. It does everything, so that's great to see as well. The body looks great, ergonomics looks great. It's not tiny and it's gonna fit well in your hand. And there's more features, guys, but I wanted to just cover the very basics and get your feedback down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this camera and if you're excited for it, if you're gonna buy it. And speaking of buying it, how much does it cost? Well, it looks like it's gonna be about 6,000 US dollars, which comparatively to the A1 is a steal. So again, why would you buy the A1 at this point? If you have a reason for that, let me know. I really don't see a reason for it. I am very, very strongly considering this camera. The only reason I might hold out is because I really want to know what the A1 Mark II would look like. But again, this thing is mind-blowing for people that shoot sports, for wildlife, for anything that is fast moving. This thing is just incredible. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'm gonna try and bring some more content on this camera, of course. Hopefully I can get one in my hands sooner than later. And like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.